If you got the love and you bide your time, you're full of ambition, we will be fine, so come on.
Come on.
Destroy the classic, man.
Come on.
Pack it in. I'm destroying the intro music.
Travesty. You never said that last week. And then you
Listen,
later,
stop hating.
hinting.
What's I'm going to start to revoke? Yeah. Against Pudding, aka C to the R. Yeah.
Wait. Okay. So, welcome to A Family Affair podcast, episode 68. Yeah, we're doing well. We're starting off with, obviously, Mideyah, you on the run.
I am indeed.
Who's been
They're
tracking
trying
you?
to get me. They're out to get me.
Who's been tracking you?
They're out to get me. I've got to admit, with all the media and all the news we've been hearing about the shortage of vaccine, I don't understand how my doctors has now called me 3 times this week asking if I want the vaccine.
Is it vulnerable, ain't you?
And it's got your name on it. You know what?
It must have my name on it. I have politely declined. Not once, not twice, but thrice. And I guarantee they'll be calling me again next week as well.
We're going to kill you. We're going to kill
Yes,
her.
they want to kill me. They want to kill me. Because apparently, as Travesty is going to introduce to us, what is this new variant we've got going on, Travesty?
The South African variant within Birmingham. So they're going to roll out compulsory testing within the West Midlands, obviously, in those affected areas.
Is that what they're saying?
Yes.
But I
Yes,
heard the
they're
other day
saying
that
on the news.
didn't Boris Johnson say that it's calming down though? You're over the peak.
We are over the peak, and they've vaccinated over 10 million people. So that's a quarter of the population so far.
A quarter?
So
No,
That's not a quarter.
no,
that's
That's
not a quarter.
I think-
probably 1/5.
That's like a
I
fifth or
think
something.
that's well, it's probably a quarter of the English
sixth?
population or something like that. Who
Oh,
knows?
maybe the British, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, because obviously, because remember, the European Union and England's in arguments because I think England, because they created the vaccine and this European leaving Brexit, they're saying that we're not letting anybody else have vaccine until we've got a certain amount. And then the European Union's costing saying, oh, come on. You know what I mean? Just because you left, give us some of the vaccine.
Hang on, are you telling me this is a British-made vaccine?
Yeah.
It's
Oxford University.
It's a British-made vaccine, but
Oxford
the
University.
disease is South African. I don't
Chinese.
get it.
No, is it Chinese?
It's Chinese and now South African.
No, it's a variant. That's the
Yeah,
variant.
it's a variant. It's still a disease, still a virus, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's not British, but a
No.
British vaccine will cure it or
Yeah.
get rid of it.
There we are again.
I find this a bit ridiculous.
The heroic
Yeah.
Brits. The heroic Brits are out here again.
Yeah, we
Never
are.
know the stuff in it. We're the ones
We
who saved the
are.
world. We saved the world.
You get me? Winning.
No, but I mean, on a serious note, I want to know how this mutation. How can they say, yeah, this is a South African strain, or how can this be a Mexican strain?
When the borders are closed.
What happens when how does it mutate and change into a different version of a virus?
I
Or a
think when
different race.
because when it mixes with something else, because in each everybody's different.
What's it
individual.
mixing with? We are not
Yeah.
outside.
Well,
And we
obviously.
What's it mixing with?
Well,
No, but what did it mix with in the first place? Think about it. Did it start off with an English virus dating a African virus?
Yeah,
Then they went on holiday to South Africa,
yeah,
and then the virus said, let's go to Mexico on our way back,
yeah.
and let's come back to England into South Birmingham, and there we have it. Is that how it went?
It must be
Must
something
be.
like that. That's what I'm
Can't
thinking.
even take it serious.
But like I said, I think we're over the peak now, and it's looking good. But I don't know about this mass testing that's going to go on in Birmingham specifically. I'm sure there's places with higher infection rates. I'm sure.
No, they're only rolling out the mass testing because of the variant. It's where they find the variant. They'll start the testing quick to see, because they want to do track and trace on it to see where it's coming from. And obviously, when it hits different humans, these diseases will mutate once it's within your system.
Yeah.
Because it's changed within your system to sort of fight it, so you can adapt, so your body can survive. But obviously, I don't know where they got the South African part from. But
I don't know where they got that from.
I think it's, you know what it is.
First base.
No, it could be just another way to say, see, the black people need to get the virus first because it's come from the black people.
South Africa belongs to the white people. Don't go there.
Oh, come on. We all know in South Africa, the majority of the people are black there, even if it's run by
But
the
it's
white
run
folks.
by- Let them claim it.
They don't actually.
Let them claim the virus.
Yeah.
They don't. It's still black run in South Africa, even though you're bound to find like plenty of Caucasians and mixed
I think
race
it's not.
people there.
I'm actually going to check, but
I think you need to check that fact first, because
I have. I know someone.
Okay. South Africa is
Someone who's
76.
in England.
Okay, South African 76% black, 9% white, and 8.9% colored, so mixed, and
we're not
2.5%
asking
African.
the races. We're asking you who's running it.
Well, we all know. Come on, every country in the whole world is run by Europeans. Every country in the
That's
whole
what
world.
I'm saying.
There is no
That's what I'm
country. There is no country that's not run by Europeans. There is not one country apart from that Sentinel Island in the middle of the. I think it's in the. Is it the Atlantic? No, what's the one? The Indian Ocean, is it? It's or is it Pacific? It's one of them anyway. It's that island where there's like this African. There's about, I don't know, 500 Africans living on there, and no one approach it. That's the only place that's run by black people where there's no money or nothing exists. That's it. We can have that place. We can have that place.
But you don't know that. Really and truly, it could be another Wakanda.
It could be.
Which will move us on to our main topic of the evening.
Oh, okay.
That is the main topic. Is there a future for the black race in Akoncity?
Oh yeah, Akoncity. Yeah.
Let's go there. Who wants to open it?
What's it called? Akoncity.
Akoncity.
Anyway, Akon, obviously the R&B stroke rapper stroke whatever he is, actor, I don't know. Obviously he's invested a lot of money in Africa, which actually I heard
in Senegal.
He's just the face, and it's actually the Chinese people who are behind him.
I heard. This is what I heard. Years ago, I remember reading an article about it, and he'd gone to Senegal, where obviously he's from, and there was still experienced power cuts in the 20th century. And he's thinking, for God's sake, why is this still going on? I remember it's a hot place, so they don't and obviously the electrical industry isn't like in the UK or everywhere else in the Western world. So we thought, wait, there's solar panels that can generate energy, and there's the sun. So why don't you do that? But they hadn't thought about that, and there was factories in China sitting just dormant with all these solar panels.
Yeah,
what nobody had used because nobody had really jumped on the industry, even though it come out years ago. People are still not on it. They're still slow to uptake it and believe that it works when it actually really probably does. No, actually, it's proven it does work. It's just that the big corporations are making so much money, they don't want to switch till they're not getting no money from us, because that'll be two bills that we don't need anymore. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he went there to the factories, bought them up with all these solar panels, went to the Senegal government and working closely with him to bring solar energy to Africa. And then from there, he's managed to power a couple of villages. And from there, he wants to create Akoncity. So, so the Chinese are behind it because it's their technology.
But is it them who are financing it, though? I mean, it's good that we always need someone who's acts as a beacon to bring the idea across. But the thing is, what's in it for the Chinese people? You know, there's always what's in it for me. You know, what's in it for them?
Well, they're getting to sell their product that they've made that nobody else wants.
But apparently, aren't the Chinese supposed to be taking over parts of Africa, the African countries?
Sure, they're always doing that. They invest heavily in Africa, in the Caribbean, because they know at some point That's where they're gonna, where the land is, where
Yeah,
the
it's true.
best
Where
land
the
is.
riches are. Yeah, it's true.
Remember, there's a takeover happening at the moment, and it's going to be basically from a transfer of power from America to China. We all know that's going to happen. They've got the most people, they've got the most technology, they've got all the businesses, all the factories. Everyone buys everything, the products. So it's definitely going to be a takeover of China.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But what I would say is let them do it, man. Because to be fair, so far we've had the European domination and we're screwed. So maybe the Chinese will do better. Maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you as in this case, I will use that phrase, better the devil you know, because at the end of the day, yes, the Europeans are quite hard people, but the Chinese, you can't beat them on cruelty. You really cannot beat them.
Yeah, but don't they have all like these good religions like Buddhism and
No. I'm not talking about
relaxing and
religion.
kung fu.
All countries, all over the world, they have religion. Religion doesn't come into the equation here. It's the way they treat people. Now you think about how they treat their own. If they treat their own with such, I don't even know what the word is.
Contempt.
Yeah. What do you think they do to other races? And not talking about the Caucasian people, because they always get treated the best anyway. I'm talking about how do you think they're going to treat black people? Look at the cruel things they did back then, which brought to my attention that they've changed that, so where you could only have one child. They've changed that now.
Yeah.
Now you think how cruel that was, what they used to do to the children that were born extra to a family. I watched the documentary where they injected them in their fontel and finished them off and left them by the draft so they'd die. Now you think about something just that alone. Think about all the creatures that they eat and think it's okay. Think about the way they torture certain things, certain animals, and think it's okay. What do you think they would do to black people if they take over?
Well,
Really?
Yeah, they're not going to eat us. I think that's just...
No, don't eat. No, I'm just saying, look at how they deal with things. I'm not talking. Yes,
They're
that
gonna
man
eat us.
has fantastic technology.
That's something they always go to, eating.
They may have
something.
brilliant technology, but their humanity leaves a lot to be desired. That's what I'd be scared of. I wouldn't want their technology and without looking at their humanity, the humanity side of them.
Well, Mideyah, I'm sorry, I can't agree with you there.
Go on.
Because if it wasn't for them and their... Well, I wouldn't even say that. But would you just not put that down to that being their culture? Because each culture is different, isn't it?
Okay.
And obviously, other cultures don't agree.
I agree with you there.
It's my turn, Mideyah. Calm yourself.
Hold it there just
don't
a
let
second.
me pop off in this
The
podcast.
culture bit, hold that there. I'm going to throw this one back at you because you've walked into it. You said put that down to their culture. All right, then. Let's look at the Muslim culture. Is it acceptable to everybody else? Don't you think they would impose their culture on you should they get in? That's all I've got to say. Carry on, Travesty.
Yeah, but that's what you've just said. At the end of the day, everybody's got a different culture. Nobody agrees with how everybody's individual culture is. Everybody's got their dislikes and their likes. Is that not agreed, Mideyah? So
I agree, but I'm thinking
just because you've
if
heard,
they take over, they will impose their culture on you. Then you think about it from that angle.
I always feel like this is like, you got Islamophobia and then you have Chinophobia or whatever you think.
Yeah,
you call it.
And that's what it sounds a bit like.
I think as long as, because look, let's be fair, the Chinese don't have a religion like, let's say,
I'm not
Islamic.
talking about religion.
Yeah, but this is where it always stems from. This is where the ideologies come from, and it is how do the religious sector look after their people. And when you look at, like, I guess the main religion is Chinese Buddhism, I guess, or Christianity, Buddhism. So they will look at it that way. And I guess, you're always going to have crazy people taking over the power and getting involved.
Yeah, extremists and radicalists.
You're always going to get these mad people. But the majority of the people are okay. And as long as they respect your religion and respect your culture and way of life, it wouldn't really matter who's in control. You know what I mean? We just...
To be honest, I don't agree. I'm not going to change my mind on it because I don't believe when you have races that don't think much of other races, they're not going to suddenly treat you nice if they take over. I'm sorry, I don't
Look.
agree with what
You're
you're
just
saying.
speculating. You're just speculating
Yeah.
that Chinese people,
I'm
for
allowed
example.
to speculate and have an opinion. That's what
No,
the
you
show's
need
about.
Yeah,
facts.
okay.
We
Your
need
opinion's
fact
great,
checkers.
but let me just quickly, try and curb your fear.
Yeah, go on.
The Chinese people are heavily involved in bringing up Africa for whatever reason they're doing that.
To take it over, isn't that what they were about?
It doesn't matter. They're the only country that's actually trying to bring up Africa. Europeans have had all the power for years and just kept Africa down in the gut.
Yeah, sending us
China's
50
come across
people,
now.
the flies.
They've given Akon $1 billion credit line, $1 billion credit line, so we can fix up Africa. I look at that as a positive. I think great.
Yeah.
Someone needs to go there and do it because we ain't doing it.
Yeah.
We ain't doing it. We just most of us, especially us Jamaicans, we're just like, yo, forget the Africans. You know,
I've just got a phrase.
Yeah, where's
to
my
say.
Gucci watch?
I've just got one phrase.
Where's my
to
new
say.
white floor?
I've got
Where's my new laminated and my new
I've just got
sofas?
to say the same. I've just got one phrase to say. What you've just said, it just reminds me of this phrase. If sheep could vote, they would vote for the person who's feeding them, even if they know that same hand that's feeding them is going to lead them to the slaughterhouse. That's what you've just reminded me of. By saying that, the Chinese have given Akon $1 billion credit line. What's going to be at the end of it? That's all I've got to say.
I think
I would be
electricity, hopefully.
The way I see it is that it's about time that Black people stop relying on everybody else's race to bring you up. Because at the end of the day, they're bringing up your country, but they're going to keep you down same way. Sorry,
you have,
that's how I see it.
but unfortunately, in life, you sometimes do have to rely on somebody else
Hang
to be able to get what you want.
Travesty, when has Black people ever been self-reliant? When have they ever tried to bring themselves up? They're always relying, they're always relying on another race to bring them up, and then they boo-hoo-hoo, poor us, we can't get nowhere, we're always held down. Think about behind what I've just said. I'm sorry, but I don't agree. Somewhere along the line, there is some Black race, Black people, Black business that could bring up their own country for once instead of relying on another race. And then when that other race takes away their country, they complain. Don't complain then.
You got to understand.
Don't complain.
I disagree entirely, because at the end of the day, if you have to look to a different country to get what you need, why would you make pride keep you down?
It's nothing to do with pride.
It is. We'll wait for a black person. Right there, we'll wait for a black person to invent the solar energy, and then we'll buy it from them. That's not going to happen. It's only been invented by the Chinese. If they're gonna give me credit, I'm gonna bring up my country with their credit, pay them off, and then I can carry on going on as long as from when I've got that technology in my country, my engineers can start looking at it to create something better. Yeah. But you need that step
Which is what the Chinese people do, isn't it?
Yeah,
reverse engineer, make it better and cheaper.
I'm assuming
it's true, because all right then, for the basis, look at, for instance, as simple as a pair of trainers. You think it's not the Chinese people designing them? Yes, they probably sold them for Nike, but they're not designing them. But as soon as they find out the design, they rip it off, and like Alstallio says, they sell it for cheaper. And that's all you're doing. You're taking other people's ideas to bring yourself up, because it doesn't matter if it's from a white man or a Chinese man. If it's a good idea and you know it's going to benefit you, why not use it?
Yeah, that's it.
I hear what you're saying, but I hope I live long enough to see the end result, and we'll have this conversation again.
It would be fantastic. I
know for a fact that there's no way.
You don't know for a fact because you're not psychic.
Maybe I shouldn't have used I know for a fact, but history is what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about.
History, just because history is...
History repeats
you know what?
itself.
Yes,
same
it has.
scenario, different situation.
But just because
Mideyah.
Wait, one at a time, please. One at a time, please.
Just because history has repeated itself doesn't mean it's right. And
that's
so
what I'm
one
saying.
day, somebody will turn around and say, we're going to actually do this different.
Well, we've been seeing this for how many years have we been seeing this? How many years have we been? How many centuries?
I know change is slow. You understand this, Mideyah. You've been on this earth for a long time. Change is slow. But look how the world has changed in the last 20 years. Look how
Yeah,
quick
and it
it's
will get
really
faster,
changed.
yeah,
The
with
things,
the internet.
yeah, the things we're allowed to do, what we weren't allowed to do back in the day. And you're saying, oh no, it's the same, it's the same.
No,
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 it
no, no,
isn't,
no,
because we're
no,
not.
no. You have misunderstood me, Travesty. What I've actually said is it doesn't matter how you rant and rave and say that we're taking the help from this and we're taking the help from that. This outcome is still going to be the same. Black people will still be at the bottom. That's the point I'm making, and
We're
that is
not
the
at the
point
I
I'm
mean,
bottom.
we're
We
still.
shouldn't.
I mean,
We
we're still be
are
at the. We're going to be at the. Well, we're probably going to be at the bottom for the foreseeable future because
exactly.
Because that's where our mentality stretches.
that's where.
Just
Yeah,
to line the
we don't have
bottom.
the head start, but I can imagine a
Yeah.
Now
couple of
we're getting somewhere,
generations.
Travesty. Now we're getting some. That's what I said.
I tell you,
That's because that's where our mentality stretches.
I'll tell
Yes.
you what might
But
happen though.
the
Can I
only
can I
reason
chime in
why
a
I
second?
said that it's about time that some miraculous, besides Icon, if there was 10 icons alone, maybe we'd see a bit of progress where Black people would finally bring up their own countries. That's
Is
all I'm
it?
saying.
But
I'm
that's what he's
saying
doing. But he's getting negativity from
huh?
you saying, look, that's what Icon's doing. The matter of the story is that's what Icon's trying to do. He's black. He's from
Yeah,
there. He's trying to bring up his
yeah.
country. Just like you're saying, that's what you want to see happen. It's happening. And you're saying, oh, well, it's not going to change because he's had to take it from a Chinese
Hmm?
person. He's
That's
bringing up his
listen.
country. It doesn't matter how he's doing it,
You
as
don't,
long as he brings
you're
up his
missing the
country.
point. You are actually missing the point, Travesty.
No, I think you
Yeah,
are.
but can
I'm just going to say something, Alstallio, and then you
okay.
can have the floor all to yourself.
You've had
All
the
I was,
floor to yourself
all
all
I
Okay,
was
night.
saying,
guys.
all I was saying, Travesty, is as long as the black race have to rely on other races to bring them up, they will always remain at the bottom. This is all I'm saying.
Can I just say
I don't
something?
know what you think what you're misunderstanding in what I'm actually saying.
Hello, Mideyah. Can I say
Go on.
something?
Yeah, you can.
I think what's going to happen is because there is a lot of mixing of the races happening. And there's a
Yes.
lot of, like, for example, a lot of Europeans marrying black people and etc. etc. And there's these mixed
Amen.
keep coming up.
Not Chinese though.
I think that a lot of these mixed race people are probably going to be the
The
beacons
next
of hope.
generation. Yeah.
I think they're the guys who are going to go back to Africa and be like, look, we're going to come. And I'm, because remember, what the white folks haven't seen is that they reject the mixed race people. Where hopefully, I'm hoping they feel more black and the black people accept them more. So they're going to naturally be like, hey, but we've got the kind of door opening to the white world as we do the black world. So they might be the ones who be like half Nigerian, half Ugandan, or half Senegalese, or whatever you call it. Who might go back there and say, I'm going to help build these countries up because we can build this up and have a place for ourselves. That's only if, obviously, because there is a war to make, obviously, the white race more attractive, as we know. And most mixed race guys will probably marry white guys, which means that next generation will identify with white and be like, well, I ain't going back to Africa because I'm white. So that might happen too. So it's going to go in one or two directions. The mixed race people are going to start deciding we're going to go and take up home and uproot to Africa and bring it up. Or they're going to settle in England and identify as British and saying, I'm staying here. This is what I know. And marry a white girl and be white. So I think that's the battle. I think that's the next possible for us. As for the Chinese people, I'm for one. I'm open for them coming to do something. I think it won't be as smooth sailing. If you look at China at the moment, they're the most advanced country in the world. You go there. Have you been to China?
No, it's my next trip. It's got
but have you ever been to an airport there though?
I mean, it's fantastic because I've been to Dubai, and I imagine that's quite forward. And
put it this way: you go to China at the airport, and they have all these. You go through like these metal detectors. It said it's testing what your temperature is and your body heat. And if you got a slight temperature or something, it'll beep, and the security will come and take you away and isolate you. That's what it's like in China. Really.
And that's what I mean. They've already 10 steps.
So that is scary. I can understand where Mideyah is coming from because that is scary because we're going to be like,
policed.
Yeah, we're going to be very policed if we get these guys. But I can't imagine we'll have a China light in Europe. It'll never be.
It's too far away.
I was going to say, and the Europeans are never going to accept, a complete Chinese state. Just like there would never be a complete Islamic takeover. Just couldn't be unless they kill people. Unless it's like they go on like Genghis Khan and start killing everybody.
Yeah, religious war.
And I can never see that happening again. Never.
No.
You know, I mean,
No.
Never say never.
I mean, I'm not going to say never, but I can imagine it would be way difficult, especially with. Have you seen the youth today? They're crazy. They're ready to die.
Yeah, it's true.
So they're going to go out, you know, just like they went to the Capitol Hill. This was majority idiots, young guys. They're going to go and do that. They're going to get on the street and start causing trouble. So I don't think they've got it in their hands like they think they have. I think the scales are tipping slightly in our favor, I would say. I think we're not far away from getting what we want from everything, you know, every situation.
Yeah, I agree. The times are changing. Change is coming.
Alstallio,
Yeah?
Alstallio, there's only one way I'm going to look at it. There's two ways this could go, right? Now, let's use this as an example. When you take out a loan, you do not own that product until that loan is being repaid.
Yes.
But if you took out a loan from a loan shark, does that debt ever get repaid? That's all I'm saying. There's two ways.
Then. I understand that, Mideyah.
As you say, Icon has took this lease of credit out. Now, hopefully, he'll pay it, and yes, it will be there. It will be Akoncity and it will be run by black people or whoever's going to do it. But if it's like a loan shark, that debt will never be repaid, so he'll never get to own it. It will be owned by the Chinese. And
the Chinese
they could sell the debt on to someone else.
So, imagine China could be like any entrepreneur and think, "Oh, I've got my hands in the pot for untouched market there. Potentially make loads because Africa is one of the biggest countries in the world.
It is the biggest,
if not biggest,
continent.
So can you imagine if everybody gets solar panel on that continent, how rich China would be?
And you got so much sun. You have to put it in the Sahara Desert.
You'd be missing a trick not to sell it to them first. I'd be in there. Remember me when your country's coming up. Remember, I was the first people to sell you the energy. Holla at your girl. So think of it like that as well, and that's thinking of it in a positive, not just that they're trying to take on.
I mean, Africa.
Really,
if that was so great, what were these videos we were watching all over social media where black people were being banned from Chinese shops and they were being beaten up for whatever reason by Chinese?
You know what?
You got to be careful when you watch this stuff, though. I mean, it's happening.
No.
You know, it always looks like it's happening to everybody if you see one video.
I'm just saying, what was that all about? I don't know what it was about from asking the question. I can't tell you what it was about. I'm just saying, why were these videos being shown if Chinese is so welcoming to help black people? Why were those sorts of videos being shown? I don't get it.
Because people just like things doing that. You know what I mean? I saw somebody trolling that Witty, the government guy, the other day, and just standing in his face shouting, and he was on a show in the morning, and they were saying how disgusting it is, how the world has just changed, that you can just blatantly like go up to somebody in the street and start harassing them and video cameraing it and then put it on TikTok.
You know
what the hell is that? You know what I mean?
Actually,
so when you see these videos, you've got to think of what is going on, what's the background story. You could have been entering when it's the fight and you see a black man getting beat up. You could have been a crackhead or smashing up the place or robbing the place every 2 minutes or comes around there and it's touched somebody's kid or something. You don't never know.
Yeah.
I know.
You never get a full story. It's always tricky with this stuff.
Yeah, so you got to remain neutral.
You know,
I'm a bit confused because there were several different videos. It wasn't just, you could understand if it was one or two, but there were several different videos. There was actually footage caught where they were saying that, where the Chinese guy actually said the white person could come in, but the black person couldn't. This is what I'm showing. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, also, you got to remember,
that degree.
Why
were you going one in and not the other because of their skin color? That's all I'm saying. That's what makes me suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. I think I wouldn't, to me.
Wait there, I saw, sorry to cut you there, Alstallio. I did see a few videos when this pandemic started of Chinese people getting harassed and beat up in the streets.
But they weren't getting harassed and beat up in the street by black people, though.
Not in China, but they were in America.
No, in England, there was in America. In England, they were really strong.
I remember that. It was Chinese people.
And I didn't see you. Yeah? Sorry, we were talking about Africa being helped out by Chinese, so other races don't need to be brought in. If it wasn't African or black people beating them up, I don't think it's something that should be brought up
this is just
in.
something that we're just making
Yeah, but
comparisons, and we're
yeah,
making comparisons. That's all. You see that it's always the same. Americans are beating up the Chinese people because of the virus and Trump's big mouth.
and that's
China,
what I mean.
and you know when the Chinese thing came out, it was actually when they started saying, "Oh, in Africa, the African people have got the virus and blah blah blah, and they've got it more than anyone else." And it seemed to have been for a moment in the Corona history, it was going
Yeah.
faster in Africa than anywhere else, which is conveniently stopped. I got a statistic for you in a minute. So that's when all these videos started coming out, and then China, everyone's getting ready to say, "Oh, it's the Africans," and I started saying, "See, now all of a sudden it's the black people with the virus." And then even Bill Gates came out and said, "Yeah, all the black people should have it." But since then, in Africa, there's been no real cases. But funnily enough, Nigeria's been donated 60 million vials, for example, doses, but they don't even have any cases. You know, I just read North Korea, who didn't let anybody in since last January, have been donated 2 million doses, and I'm like, hold on, how have they got virus when no one's been coming in the country?
Good man.
You know what I mean? Since
Crazy.
last January, actually. Since last January, that was even before March. You know, before the virus was actually really discovered.
So really and truly, just like I could have seen several videos of Chinese people. Say I was Chinese and I saw several videos of Chinese people being mistreated and beat up. I should start saying that all. You know what I mean?
It's not all. It's whoever rules the country. Whoever's ruling you, it's how they're going to rule it. That's
Africa's
all
ruled by
I'm saying.
the African president, and who runs it is an African. He's not Chinese. All they're
Africa's
doing
a
is giving
continent, by the
credit.
way.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so all they're doing is giving them a bit of credit because they know Africa ain't got no money yet. But if we can create some money, then we're going to help you.
And you got to remember too, it's very difficult. You can do it. You can test it yourself. Go to a bank tomorrow. You know, I've just been going to banks obviously to get some money. Go to a bank tomorrow and go and ask them for a credit, and just say you want to, I don't know, do something. You know, you want to help Africa out. Go on.
They'll tell you where to go and jump.
They'll tell you where to jump. And that's how you got to imagine. That's how hard it is when the Europeans have got their foot in every single country in the world, and they have, apart from a few. They have the last say on who gets money. So it was necessary for someone like Akon to go to China and say, "Yo, the Europeans ain't helping me. The Americans ain't helping me. Can I get some money from you guys? Because I want to do this project." And the Chinese are like, "Oh, yeah, if we do that, but we want to cut." Yeah, okay. As long as everyone gets fit and healthy.
It's an entrepreneur, isn't he?
Yeah. So
You gotta look at it. You gotta
It's
look at it
business.
as well with Akon. He grew up in Africa, so he probably had this plan from God knows where. So he probably mapped this out. He probably purposely became famous just to do this, to become into it, to fall into the riches just for this. You just never know.
You know the thing is, I think it's with us because we were raised in Europe. We're a little bit spoiled, and we feel a bit more like, yeah, you know, we're doing good. You know, even though we didn't really achieve it, but we still feel like we're doing. If you're born in England, you got this kind of sense of entitlement. Yeah, I'm doing kind of good. You know, I'm from England. Even when the English, you see, when the British are abroad, they feel like, you know, we're England. We're living on this reputation that being in England's great. You know, and you know you're loved by everybody. So you're from, you know, you say from England.
The pound is strong.
Yeah, the pound is strong, and you're the best in England. Great ruler, queen, and stuff. But really, in reality, we ain't that. You know, we ain't that special. You know, and really, we should be trying to make, like, I don't know why, for example, Mideyah's generation didn't try and make a place like Africa better for us so we could go back there with the people of actually going back to
Please stop.
I'm not blaming you, Mideyah. I'm not blaming you specifically. I'm saying I don't know why your generation.
That's easy to answer.
Because they're busy in the blues.
My generation and older were busy trying to set up their own lives. It was difficult. We were born in a time where racism was rife.
Yeah, sure. That's why you should have been
hard to get
mission.
You might think it's hard to get credit now. It was terrible.
But see that, Mideyah. See, and as history repeated itself, no, it's a lot easier now.
It's easier, but it's still hard. Don't get me wrong.
It's hard, but it's still
easier.
but it's a lot easier because back in the day, you know what I mean. And that's what I mean. Things change, and hopefully. It will get easier, and things will.
It will get easier. And like I said, in this African city that Akon wants to build up, he's ushering his own coin. It's called Akon coin or something. A coin. So it's
a
like
coin.
it's a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so
which you can only spend it in that city, which I think is great. That's a way to really separate
keep the
yourself
money
from
in
the
the
rest. Keep
yeah.
your like black people always lose their. I think I think it's their pound bounces. It goes into the white community for like 23 days or something, then goes to the Asian community for about 9 days, and stays in the black community, the pound, for about 6 hours, and that's it. 6 hours compared to the white community. You give it to white stores, and that's what you need to do. You need to make sure you isolate your people and their coin, their currency, so they can barter and do business with each other. And I think that's great.
Because he wants to create a business district, tourism. He really wants to go in, just like Dubai. That wasn't nothing. That used to be just sand, and they put their money in, brought up their country. Look, everybody's flying there now. It's one of the best places people want to go to.
Dubai's
if you want
nice,
to
man.
You know what I mean? If you want real living, so why can't I do the same?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? From one person does he, everybody else will think, yeah. Hopefully Jay-Z, more rich, like black folk with money.
Beyonce should do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oprah might as well go.
You know what I mean?
Oprah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oprah ain't doing it.
She built school there, didn't she?
Nah, but Oprah's too much into Oprah's a bit of a sellout, man. She's not really. She ain't down for
so you're with Snoop Dogg on that one.
She ain't down for us now. She ain't down for us, man. Forget it.
So hopefully they'll see that and see that it's working. Because really and truly, when you start trying to start a business, first you'll get the backing of the bank. Nobody else really wants to touch you at first if you got good credit. And then as soon as somebody sees it's okay, that's when you get your partners and people want to jump on, and your investors, because people are seeing that, actually, that plan's working. I want a piece of that. And then from there, it can really blow up and it could be very successful.
Actually, you know what, Mideyah? Actually, that's a good question. You said that the people trying to make their own, because something I've been thinking about a lot lately, the black people who came, or the Jamaicans or the African people who came to England to get jobs and make money to survive themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. I don't know if how they earned. I think it must have been a little bit different from the way the white man earned. But when you think about it, things were a lot cheaper back then. So it's kind of was it like a case of they didn't earn that much?
What it was, and that carries on the tradition even today. I think it's probably fading out a bit now, but
sending the money back.
Their aim was they worked hard and they were sending their money back to their own country so that they could go back there and live a decent life. Yeah. That's what their aim was. Their aim wasn't to build up in England. It was only the ones that ended up building up in England was the one who decided to become westernized. And as you see, they wanted to mix and interact. Yeah. But the majority of them, they did work hard
and go back to their land and stuff.
To go back to their land. Yeah. That's what it was about, which was a good way.
It was a good way. But what happened is when you saw people like our generation and the generation after, with black families especially, we have acquired no land.
Let me explain why that's happening.
No assets. Yeah, but the thing is, we don't have access to that.
Areas of expertise. What happened was, unfortunately, and it's a disgrace and a shame that I'm going to have to say this, that when they came over and they did what was good, they forgot about the children they were making in the UK. So they didn't leave a legacy for us. Yeah. They left it only for the ones that they had back in their homelands. Yeah. They didn't really leave nothing much for us. So we then had to struggle, and we were left clueless because they weren't teaching us how to build ourselves up. They were busy concentrating on sending it back home and making sure the ones back home were sorted. Yeah, I think they probably had in their mind the ones born in England can look after themselves. I'm sure that's how they've been thinking. That's where the breakdown came in.
Yeah, because we were
left clueless.
Yeah, I was saying that because of that, we've had like a kind of a 2-generation setback. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's most likely that, for example, like I'll probably be able to afford a house, but I'll never benefit from like a white family. Most of them now, everyone I know in Germany, for example, inherits a house. All the families here are getting houses, so no one's really paying rent anymore. So they've already been able to get to that next level.
Yeah.
Because of us, because of what happened with, like, obviously people from your generation and older, they didn't do that for us. So we're still we're having to rent and trying to get on the ladder. And all they've done now is they've made it harder for us to get on the ladder.
Yeah.
But now the people who are not it's like being on, like the boat's full and you're trying to catch the boat, but you can't because the tide's going in your direction. It's like going and pushing you away, and you're trying to catch and you're not strong enough anymore. So if you're left behind at this point, you're left behind. You've missed the boat. You've missed the train.
That's it.
You're done.
It.
Your
You
family
got to wait
from
for
this.
the next boat.
Yeah, well, you got to wait for the next
And hope
boat,
it
the next
comes in
craze, and
time.
hope that someone is humane enough to make things a bit equal for everybody. But at the moment, the way it's looking is, if you're in it, you're in it. But if you're not, well, get used to being, poor.
But you know what? Really and truly, if you were allowed to inherit your rightful rights in like countries like Jamaica and Barbados,
you'd never get it.
No, you obviously would never get it. But rightfully, it belongs to you.
Yeah, rightfully.
I know
Really and
that.
truly, rightfully, when your parents have died and they had assets, they've had land and stuff, it belongs to part of you as well. But obviously, like you said,
unfortunately, that wouldn't happen because, unfortunately, people in those sort of countries, and I'm not saying all, but a lot of them are very, what you'd use the term, begrudgeful. And they are not going to allow someone from England or Europe to come across and sharing whatever they would have inherited. I've experienced it, so I know.
Think the only way that's ever happened, because I know a few big people like yourself, Mideyah.
Yeah.
and because they were only children, they actually, and their mum or their dad is left in the house, they're okay to have the house because there's no other siblings.
That's it, yeah.
So I think it works when it's like that.
Yeah.
That's more very time. True. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you have got siblings who are already over there, then rare tear and there's too much big families, no, you won't get it.
You won't get it.
I mean? Definitely won't get it.
I think as well, you've got to look at as well. When we were growing up and you're seeing something on TV and you're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to go there. Like, what was that place called? Where it was in Jamaica? Was it Sands or Sandal? I don't know. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to go there. When I'm bigger, I'm going to go there. Just imagine for other places, it's like that. And there's also the reverse. Like a lot of me growing up, there was a lot of Asian countries or parts of Asia, should I say, that looked negative, and there was always like people fighting and war breaking out. Where in fact, it may not actually be like that when you go and
it's true.
Yourself. So that's what you need to really look at media and don't see it as the facts being shown in front of your eyes, because it isn't. They're always show something negative.
You're right, because many years ago, I remember back in I would say the 80s. Do you remember that show, Mideyah, about the two girls who went to Thailand and they were smuggling drugs and they got done for years and years and had to stay there? Yes. I remember that, and that really itched on my mind, and I'm sure I was about 8 or 9 watching that. And for years, growing up, going on holiday to Thailand just terrified me. Just thinking, Jesus Christ, imagine everybody who goes there, you must get locked up because that's what you see. And you thought everybody who comes from there must be smuggling drugs and you're all going to get stopped and locked for even if you're innocent. But that actually wasn't the case. When I went, it was fantastic. And I didn't feel anxious, not once, because obviously I knew I wasn't smuggling drugs.
So in Brazil?
But, so don't be scared of what you've seen on TV or like put into his media, because that's just one case. That's not everybody. There's millions of people in them countries, and they're fine.
We're living decent, and if it was that bad, why are people still living there? In it,
and why
Turkey's surprising me? Turkey's very much surprising me. Like I thought them just absolutely hated black people.
No,
with the amount of black friends I have and black women that have
been there.
Turkey's lovely.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I've heard that.
And the people are really nice
I've
too.
Just not gone close to the war place.
Turkey's a bit. As long as you stay away from like the big cities, Galatasaray and stuff like this, you'd be fine.
Yeah,
Istanbul, Istanbul, not Galatasaray. Is it Galatasaray? It's Istanbul.
Istanbul.
Yeah. I forgot you're Turkish now, innit?
So yeah,
gule.
So European. Have you got a European passport so you can travel freely?
Me, I'm still trying. I've been trying to get my German passport for the best part of 2 years now, and I've been tracking a guy. But for some reason, someone's always sick, and I did all my tests and everything I needed to do, and I passed them all. Well, I'm actually still waiting for my results for my this integration course, but I passed it anyway because it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for my results so I can finish and get my citizenship.
Yeah, because that's the best one to have.
Yeah, but these guys are taking a mick though, man. I don't know what they're doing, but they've been taking
because of COVID, I think.
Not even because of COVID. I think it's just because they don't want me to be German, to be fair. I really think so.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't want me to be German, man. There's no way it would take. I know a woman who did it and she had it in 3 months. And that was that was before COVID, but she still got it quickly. And then I was before COVID too because I did the test with her.
No.
So I'm like, why is it taking longer for me? Trust me, they don't want me here, man.
I think you should trace it up. Chase it up now. And the thing is, I called them today and I said, I need my results because my process can't move forward. And they were like, oh, you're gonna have to call this guy. So I called this guy. And he was like, oh, you're gonna have to go and call the immigration, in German immigration. And I called them and they said, oh, I'm gonna have to write them a letter saying I've lost it with all the details. I was like, why are you sending me through the mail? I can't believe it. So I'm really mad, but I did that straight away today, and I'm hoping they're not like, oh, well, you forgot something, because I'm pretty sure they are going to do that. I'm pretty sure. Jokers.
And then after that process, once that's done, then I should be getting my German passport quite quickly after that. And then once I got that, then I'll probably go to Turkey, because then I don't need to pay the visa fee.
No, you don't. Yeah, because if you go, that's what many people are doing. People from Ireland are researching their history.
The Turkish history.
No, Irish history, because they can do it as well. And if anybody who was born in France, if you got a French grandparent, you can claim for your French passport. So it's good to have the European passport and your English one, so you can just still travel freely throughout the world.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway,
guys, we won't bore anyone anymore. We've, exhausted the topic of Akoncity. Well, we're there. We'll go around the table. Will it be a success or not? What's that we put in?
I think it will be a success. I feel like China does owe Africa stuff. I know in my heart, because I've been having sits down with older generations that said, trust me, a lot of there's a saying about Africa. There's a lot of things that we've got from the African nation which benefits us. So we're basically nicking a living, in a nutshell. So I do feel like we will benefit. And I feel like as well, which I wanted to say earlier, I feel like he's a smart man. He's not going to go in ties with someone and not benefit from it, or his place to benefit from it. I choose not to believe that he won't benefit from it somewhere.
Of course he's going to benefit from it.
And his people. And our people, should I say.
Okay, Travesty, what do you think?
I think he will be successful as long as he's driven and he knows his end goal. You know what I mean? And people jump on and help him as well and support. Nothing's unachievable.
Yeah. Mideyah, you could be the last one.
It's not a question of whether it's going to be successful. Of course it's going to be successful, but I've got no comment on the rest of it.
Okay. And I'm going to go out by saying, as long as he doesn't get tied up in the usual African corruption, because we've got to acknowledge that Africa has loads of corruption, it will make it. But if it gets into the wrong African leaders' hands, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for being on the show again. I love you guys.
You're welcome.
Love you guys.
See you guys next week.
Yeah, gule.
Allah.
We will be fine.